And we're live. Finally. Afternoon, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Apologies for the tardiness. This is the first time we're doing something like this in person. So just to give you an idea of the setup, Alan, my buddy, is sitting right here next to me. He's on the camera that you see on the top. And we're just gonna kind of wing it and see how this goes. You know, we're just I'm gonna blame. Actually, I should just do this. I'm gonna point upwards when I blame you because you're above me on the screen. I'm gonna blame him because he was getting a fresh cut. Though I have to thank him as well for this because Alan is the reason that I get so many better haircuts now. I went to this guy who's like super duper slow. Like the cuts were nice, but they're just way too slow. But you know, this is really fresh. Oh god.
It's not a paid advertisement.
It's not. It's definitely not. The chat is kind of messed up. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'll troubleshoot that later. I'd much rather make sure the audio is working fine. Hey Panda, how are you doing? Good afternoon. Good to see you popping in. Let me shoot the chat over out here. Sec. I can see you. This is kind of cool because now I don't have to worry about a game overlay or anything like that. I can just, you know, hang out. So, wait, what were we talking about? Well, we always go off on a tangent. Like part of the reason I want to bring Alan on is just because like we always talk about some crazy stuff. Yeah, some random stuff. Yeah, pretty much. But we were talking about Dune a second ago, and to answer your question, I haven't seen the movie yet.
The only reason why.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the old movie was my favorite for sure. Or like I really enjoyed it, even though it's not like what would you call it? It didn't receive good critical reception, if that makes sense. It was just kind of it was panned. In fact, David Lynch, the guy who directed it, said it's one of the worst movies he's ever made, and it made me sad because I really liked the movie.
Classic one or
the classic one, the old one.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I heard they literally.
Let me turn you up a little bit. I think I might have to filter too high. Right, 20. I didn't think this through. I'm like, my audio is definitely gonna go through on the other side, so I'll just talk really quiet here. Yeah, like as a sci-fi fan, I enjoyed it because it's the old Dune is really weird. Yeah, yeah. Have you seen it?
I've never seen the actual classic. I've only seen you know, on Instagram, you know.
Yeah.
So I saw one where I guess a creature, a worm.
Yes.
I don't know what they call.
Yeah,
it,
they're
but
sandworms. They're sandworms.
Yeah, sandworms, and it was huge. Yeah, they just showed like a little excerpt. I guess it's the kid and its mom.
Mm-hmm.
They play a high importance.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I guess it looked cool. The CGI of it. It's crazy. Like you're a big sci-fi fan, so you see like how the CGI has evolved for years, and just like.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because oh, okay, we've already got someone talking smack in chat. So we've got Jesse in here. Jesse is like
said who? Who's that?
Who's that?
Jesse from Toy Story? Oh,
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, hey. He says modern day is better than Bosco. He also says Cane's is better than all other chicken. I think he's trying to refer to Crimson Coward.
Oh, there's more chicken sandwiches. Unfortunately. I mean, what would he know, right? Because Raising Cane's, you know, it's all.
Yeah, it's all the hype. And then Jesse says, "Whose Tio is this?"
Who's Tio?
Yeah, right. He's my Tio, dude. He's 19. I decided to bring my uncle on to talk to me.
Did he say Modern Day's better than Bosco?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! I hope this is going live, Jesse. So they're gonna look out for you out here.
Yeah, they really are. They're coming after us. Jesse, he messaged me the other day, and he was specifically like, I want to be able to talk smack on this broadcast. So
yeah, that's fine.
yeah,
Makes it more fun for the chat. I won't be surprised if someone's like, "Hey, be nicer," on the chat, and we're like, "Oh, I guess we have someone who cares about us."
yeah, for real. He also says SpongeBob sucks.
Damn. Wait, what did he eat for breakfast today?
That's a good question. What did you eat for breakfast, Jesse?
I think I sent him a bottle of Haterade, maybe.
To have fresh in the morning.
Fresh in the morning, top of the morning.
Dude, he's going up. I wish you could see the chat, man. He's like,
oh yeah, I can.
I'm not even gonna repeat that, dude. You just being mean. Okay, well, I mean, this whole thing was about high school anyway. Now, Jesse always here. I'm gonna try something. Every time I'm talking, I'm gonna mute your mic remotely so that it comes through, and then I'm just gonna try to like ninja switch between them because right now I can tell it's echoing. Like this one is hearing me, but it's okay. Learning process. So I'll go for like, Jesse always makes fun of me because I don't remember Jack. Like going back to high school, he'll say, "Yeah, remember that day where we went to that ice cream place and this happened? It was really crazy." I'm like, well, yeah, like Frosties would be an example, but yeah, well, I was just using an example because we haven't actually been to Frosties. But if I were to ask you, Alan, what would be a memory that you have that stands out that I might remember, or maybe it was just something that you had?
Since this is on YouTube, we can't really go into further details, but I'm not trying to burn anybody up.
It's okay. You could sort of like embellish the story and change it. Yeah, we'll change names.
I guess for me, what stood out was just what stands out the most for me was like our classrooms, like having class together. Actually, we should just start off like telling everyone on the stream like how did we actually meet, like how did that moment put us to where we are now, you know, like how we became like literally just like the friends that we are now. So I think. Do
you want to tell that story?
I actually don't remember, bro. Like literally, like I actually don't remember. Like I'm trying to remember, like how did I meet Alex, bro? Like it's been bro. If you think about it, like it's 2021. It's been 9 years since we graduated. You know, and we started freshman year 2008. So and that's 13 years from now.
Something like that.
13 years in the past. So yeah, it's something that I've always tried to reminisce. Like, how did I meet Alex? Like, literally, how did our friendship really start? Like, what moment? Like, that's how you said. Like, what moment kind of kicked us off to like be where we're at now? Yeah. So I was gonna ask you that actually.
Okay, so the memory I have of us meeting, well, I saw you a couple times around campus. Like I saw you either like I knew you played soccer because I'd see you with the shirts. And I remember you always having this like yeah, you're like super serious all the time. I'm like, dang, I won't mess with this guy.
That's literally how people perceive me. Like everywhere I go, you know, I have this like serious face, and it's like, whoa. And I tell him it's like it's not that I have it. It's just, I guess I don't know. It's just like God placed His face on me, you know. And then, but I tell.
It's gorgeous.
And the funny thing is that someone actually told me, they started to see how I interact with them, and then they literally like tell me like, man, like it's crazy, like you seem like a pretty cool guy, like you're pretty like chill out. But I just had this perception that you were like a dick, because of the seriousness, you know. Yeah. And I'm like, nah, it's valid, you know. But again, I tell him like I'm not gonna have this smile attached to me, and it makes me feel fake, you know. Like yeah. It just gives off the wrong vibe. So, but I tell him like yeah, like I tell people I'm always approachable. I how would you say like if it's at a setting where, for example, work is work. Like, we're here to work, so I'm not gonna like mingle or all that if we're actually on the floor. But outside, like yeah, don't don't hesitate to like start a conversation with me. So I'm also a person to like I'm keep to myself. Not really the one to like really just like talk to anybody. You really gotta give me like that vibe. Be like, oh, like I like what I like this vibe too. So maybe we could like have a chat. So
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, after I knew you, then I realized like you were really nice. I remember I think one of the first things I said to you is I went up to you in the locker room and was like, "Hey, this is a Darth Maul looking dude." You're like, "Oh yeah, your hair. It was your hair. Yeah, your hair looked like Darth Maul."
like the hedgehog. That's right.
Yeah. Let's see. What is Jesse saying in chat? I'm surprised Alex remembers he went to Bosco. Thanks, Jesse. Panda was in here a second ago. Let me check real quick. I think they're both in here right now. And he says Alex forgot McDonald's existed this morning. Okay, well I can't eat McDonald's if I'm wearing braces, dude. So, or can I? No, I can't have the bread. The bread is like it'll get caught in the. It's a real mess. They. I wish I had read this sooner. He's like, how did they meet? They made out behind the gym.
Typical Jesse.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Funny, man, because I don't want to get into him, but I mean, I got stories about him too. So, and it's funny because half the time, like, I only hear it through other people, and you would tell me too, and I'm like, really? Like, damn, that's crazy.
Gosh. So yeah, we just kind of we met like we just talked one day, and then it kind of went from there. I'm trying to remember like a specific thing. We hung out at football games, right?
I think the reason why we click is because honestly, bro, like we literally act how we want to act. There's no judgment. There's no like. For example, people just say like, "Oh, you're weird," you get me? So, and for me, it's like that's something that I didn't get off you. You didn't judge me the way I act too, because we're goofballs. So don't get us wrong. Like,
dude, I judge you hard, man. No,
yeah,
okay.
like I'm a goofball. I literally that's just how I am. I just like to have fun. I can joke around. I guess you could say like have some sense of a little kid in you. Like just act like a child, and I got that same vibe of you, so that's why we clicked. And other people, and obviously again, like when you're in high school, you're kind of trying to find yourself, trying to see who you are, who you're gonna grow into as a person, and that's literally why like the friendships that I have now and why they're so close to me is because these people never really saw me differently. They always saw me as like you're Alan, bro. Like that's who you are. Like it's not gonna change. Gonna make me look at you any different. So yeah, so that's why our friendship is like here to this day. Like we're here just doing this together. So yeah, that's what stood out to me.
Yeah, I feel that for sure, especially on the like not being afraid to be a kid, because like some of my jokes that I make are so dumb. Like they're so silly, they're so stupid.
Like, oh my god, that was so corny. But you'd be surprised, like some people are actually into that. Other people aren't. But it's like, but in my head, I'm like, well, like, where's the fun in you? Like, you want to like laugh a little during your day. You want to just like, be like, like
not take everything so seriously.
Yeah, like just want to just. So, I mean, yeah, corny jokes could only go so far, but it's just, yeah. It really don't be surprised. Like, hey, like for the ladies, like some of them like them. Some of them like some like corny jokes. They think it's just cute. It just comes off like, oh, like Like my girl, for example, she notices that I throw out corny jokes here and there, but she gets a laugh. So, but even if she didn't, I would still say it. Like who? It's like who is she to tell me don't say those jokes? Like, that's my sense. I guess that's my type of sense of humor that I have. Because everyone has that too. I mean, again, like um, as I've grown, even past high school, going through college, and all that's literally how I started to like see a lot of things. How people are, how people think, and everybody's unique in their own way and how they tackle stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it's hard in high school too because you're wait, before I go on that, I've got more hate messages. Um I judge both of you very much. I know you do. I know you do.
Come on, man. You
Uh,
can't judge
um Stop acting like children. Where was my invite? Are you talking about an invite to this like talk right now? Because if you want, I can get you into a Discord call or some sort of chat. Xbox Live Party if you're on Xbox, and we can add you in. Then we'll really get it the wheel spinning. Oh, gotcha. I see. Well, I mean, we're gonna be here for a while, so now if you get in your car and start driving, man, and we'll get you on here. But no, seriously, if you want to hop on an Xbox Live Party, I don't mind. Can yeah. The only problem is I don't think Alan's gonna be able to hear you. But that's okay. Just like what facilitate is the word I'm looking for. But I was gonna respond to you and it's hard because in high school you are going through a lot of I guess identity changes. Like you're trying to figure out where honestly I don't think I was even trying to figure out where I was going. I was just kind of existing in the present, not really knowing where I was gonna end up next. It wasn't until I even got to college that I had a semblance of an idea that I wanted to go into film. High school was kind of just like having fun, and my my parents wanted me to do well, obviously, because they have a vision for where they want you to go, but I didn't even have a vision for myself. Like I hadn't the slightest clue what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go. I was just kind of living in the present, and Bosco it was a lot of fun for me. Like it was great. Like at first I was kind of annoyed that there were no girls at the school.
with me too. Like I was just like why are my parents putting me through this? Why like this is torture. Like if I told myself like if they wanted me to go to like to get a private education in high school, like there's literally co-ed private high schools that they could have sent me. But
Right.
of course, everybody has their restrictions in terms of like drive, all that. So um so yeah, I guess I mean I'm not like I said like I appreciate what my parents did. I appreciate them putting me there. Um, but it was kind of forced. I didn't want to go there at all.
Mhm.
It is what it is. It happened. But yeah, I was kind of in the same boat too. I was like, how's this gonna go? Um, but to be honest, man, like as our 4 years journey went on, like in this to the camera, like I said, this to the camera, but we really didn't have to like dress up and impress to nobody.
Right.
That's
Yeah, I
that.
feel
Like
that.
you can literally just show up with like your hair all like messed up. Obviously, yeah, like brush your teeth and all that, but like
Nah, hell no.
like personal hygiene, like but yeah, so um, and I think that's the reason, and I think that's also what helped me too, like to in a sense to just be yourself,
Mhm.
because there weren't any girls to impress in the classroom, so there was no like, oh, you gotta be like the class clown,
Agreed. 100%, yeah.
that stuff. So yeah, would have been nice for me to like experience like a co-ed, private education. Like yeah, just to see how that turned out. Like so, I even told myself like, man, my parents, putting me in a public high school. Like I wonder how would that how would that go for me.
Mhm.
Um, and to see like where would I be, today if I didn't go through a private education now public. Would I be the same person? Will we have met? Who knows, man? Honestly, so
Yeah.
yeah, so um, that's going back to that comment. Like, yeah, I can agree. It was pretty like it was annoying. And I was probably pissed for like maybe the first 3 weeks there. Then as I started to make like certain friends. Well, the other thing too, like Alex and I can agree. Like we were both like student athletes at the time. I was playing soccer. Did all my 4 years there. St. John Bosco School, and that's our alma mater went to that we attended, and I was a soccer player. He was a volleyball player. So I think that, like I said, that's where I tell like the majority of like anybody that meets me, like I literally made my friends to the sport, and it wasn't just soccer. It was like some were from baseball. You know, like Jesse, he was a baseball player. Not to put you out there. I mean, I heard he was like a third stringer, but I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure if he was here, I'll probably tell him like, bro, tell us about your baseball experience, like and I'm sure he had a lot of stories because I would be intrigued because I heard stories about the baseball team, so um, but funny ones, not just funny ones, but so yeah, so just I think that itself, playing the sport was like that's what had me all focused on the distraction of like being in an all boys school. That's the sport itself. Just like I'm just here to play and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man. So
Yeah, sports were well. I'll preface it with when I was first going to Bosco. Like I had a lot of close friends at my elementary school. Like I'd made a lot of what I thought were lifelong friendships at the time, and I legit thought I was gonna die when I went to Bosco. Like I was so nervous. I thought I was gonna get bullied and like beat up, and I was gonna be like this little twiggy kid who would not be able to handle anything there. Granted, I mean, my perception was completely changed after a little bit of time, but I was so scared. I remember the first time I got there. There's this like older. Well, he wasn't older actually. It turned out he was a freshman, but he looked older. He's a bigger guy. I won't say his name, but I remember going up to him very timidly asking, like, is this the 300 building? And he says to me, "Hey, chillax, man. I'd shank you, but I won't." Like I was like, "What? This is like that." Moment I thought was going to characterize the next 4 years. Like I was going to get thrown in a trash can. Granted, it is not like that at all. When I first went to Bosco, I was doing the summer program for volleyball. Okay, because I had played in 8th grade reluctantly. I didn't want to play any sports. I just wanted to stay at home and play video games all day. But my teammates forced me to join. My best friend at the time in elementary school, he made me join. And it turned out I actually really liked it. I enjoyed the team atmosphere. I enjoyed like coordinating with other people. And when I got there and did the summer camp, I really, really enjoyed it. I wasn't the best player, and I never ended up being too insanely good at volleyball. Like I was pretty bad, to be honest. But one thing that I found that I had from doing that was I had work ethic and I had commitment. Like I was always very serious about showing up to practice on time. I always made a big point of, following directions and doing the best that I could, even if the best wasn't that great. And that actually ended up serving me later on in life because, real jobs have more sport elements than you might think. Like, teamwork and communication, all of those things are incredibly important in any retail job, I would say. And when I got into esports, like obviously it's super important because it's still sports, it's the same concept. So I, being like a little nerdy kid who didn't play sports and then going into playing sports was completely life-changing for me. And that never would have happened if it hadn't been facilitated by the sort of motto that Bosco had, like of excellence and integrity. Granted, not everyone was like that. There were a lot of people who were just, jerks, and they didn't embody that whatsoever. But I actually enjoyed wearing a uniform after a while. It made me feel kind of like I was in the military. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
Like, you look at the haircuts that we have now, we couldn't even do that. Like, and then not shave. We have to be shaving clean every single day. Like some certain rules, I was just like, bro, like, it's too much.
Did you know that there is no haircut rule now? You can have your hair as long as you want.
Surprised, like I know Look, if you look, Alex, if you look how the high school looks now, how it was back then, the young bucks right now, they don't even know what we went through, bro. Like, if you're telling me about that rule change, well, who knows what other rules that they changed that they thought it was probably too harsh, you know? It probably didn't make the experience any more fun, anything. So, um, yeah, man. I mean, I can see, I will believe it if they, so.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like I think every generation goes through their own sort of, trials. I remember my uncles telling me like way worse things, like when they went to Bosco, that there was like a freshman orientation where they would have to like crawl through the mud and things like that, and they just got hazed to the max. Like it sounded like certain college frats, but I don't remember us ever going through anything like that or that bad. I mean, I did have to deal with some on when I played volleyball, like the older guys. A few of them were nice, but most of them were mean. They were actually really mean. And they were good. They were skilled, but
sometimes the ones that act mean are the ones that they think they're good, but they're like trash.
Yeah. No, I mean, compared to me, like of course they were good. Like I looked up to them because they were so good. But they definitely they definitely made it hard. We're actually gonna take a break here, guys. Alan got some food. But we will be back here in. See, it's 3:40, maybe like 4:10, 4:15. Okay. Cool. All right. So before we go, let me just check the messages here. Oh, Jesse had to go to work. Okay, gotcha. My Bosco experience was ruined by my own unwillingness to actually socialize. What a wasted opportunity. So you could look at that as a wasted opportunity, but the reward. And I don't know if you're hearing this right now. I don't know if you're still in the chat. Let me double check. That's okay. I'm going to say it anyway. The reward is that Okay, so I was just talking to Alan a little bit off stream a second ago, and I told him that I got scammed out of some money on for regarding crypto. Okay, and granted, it wasn't. I'm very fortunate because it wasn't a ton. I lost a little bit of my. I mean, it was a significant amount, but it wasn't like my life savings. And some people have lost their life savings. Okay, but just because that's for all intents and purposes a loss, there is something valuable to be gained from that. Okay, now I'm not using MetaMask. Now I know that I have to be a lot more conscientious about where I put my passwords and seed phrases and things like that. But how does this relate to you? Okay, so that experience that you had at Bosco, it might seem like a big deal because high school is a significant part of your life. But the lesson is going forward, if someone gives you an opportunity to go out and in the past that you haven't taken it, then maybe now is the time to take it. Yeah, it's not like your life is over. I mean, we're in our late 20s. Like we haven't even reached. I mean, you never know. Something could happen any day. But thinking optimistically, we haven't even reached the halfway point of our lives.
You on when we come back with the stream, we could talk about like something that again, going through college, I finally figure out like there is a time for everything, and everybody's at their own. You're at your own pace. I'm at my own pace, and we control that. We can listen, obviously, to people's advice or their opinions and whatnot, but at the end of the day, we are the ones that control, our journey.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Absolutely. Jesse says. He says this is a terrible stream. Taking a break after an hour late.
An hour late, yeah, true. I mean,
it's all good. It's our first time. It's our first time.
It's something better than Raising Kings, that's for sure. I mean, that's why it's worth the break. Because if it was Raising Kings, you'd probably be eating in live stream, and it's like that's not worth the pause. Of the time to eat it.
So, give us like 20 25 minutes we will be back. I'm gonna leave the stream running on a break, and we will go from there. Delete the channel, he says. All right, well, I'll consider it while hey, I'm not eating, dude. This is Alan is here. He's my guest. He's the one who gets to by the way, thank you so much for being here, man. I really appreciate it. I get to troubleshoot all of this stuff and learn, next time after I see all the problems I'm having here, I can figure out how to make it even better next time I have you on.
If you come next time and you do this, you actually get the better experience. So you should feel better about that.
That's optimistic thinking right there. Okay, we'll be right back, guys. Okay, and we're back. You guys letting your food digest before the yes, totally. Um, dude, what is up with Alan's camera? It just keeps like it'll just randomly pause. But sometimes it'll work just fine. I don't know. Anyways, we were just talking about NFTs. What before we really go like off topic, I'm trying to think. Actually, give me one sec. This is me, like my troubleshooting brain having to fix things. But let me just look at his camera real quick. All right. So, what's up, guys? I'm gonna go here.
You gonna trip right now?
Yep, I'm gonna trip over this. The feed looks fine on this end, but if I go to settings, advanced, that's advanced audio. I don't want that. I just want
You know, next time if you want to do like casting, I have a mic,
oh, you do?
like one of those.
Oh, dude, yeah, that would be.
We can just use.
The computer.
Yeah, and I can just sit on the opposite side, like right here, on the table.
That's true.
On the table, and then I just set up myself.
And then I have the camera facing you right here.
Yeah, and then I just give you like my mic, and you can plug it in.
Yeah, that will work. All right.
Thanks. I forgot. I don't know. I have started my own podcast too. So I have
Yeah.
my tools and all that.
Let's go. When am I invited? Alan's like, I don't want this link ass on my show.
Definitely not Jesse. Fuck. Save yourself from that misery.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, so just went on a bit of a hiatus here. Just sit next to each other. I mean, we could do that, but I don't know. I don't know if I have the camera set up just right. Yeah. Hang on. One sec. I will entertain that thought for a moment. I do want to go to our studio mode real quick to see what that would look like. Oh, the problem is we'd have the other screen. We'll just say lesson learned for now. I take it off studio mode. Okay, it goes back. Lesson learned for now. You know, like remotely, I think this is perfect, but the heck is this overlay? But in the future, like if we're in person, then I'll just set the camera up differently so we can both talk on the camera. But yeah, trial and error, 100%. So going back to so the last thing that we sort of left off at was that like Bosco, it kind of felt like a missed opportunity. Jesse was saying for socializing, right? And you could say that that's true. But there's gonna be like life is full of endless opportunities. I think that you can either choose to take or you don't. I mean, a few months ago, one of my teachers from Long Beach State actually sent me a DM saying, "Hey, I actually have a role for you in a motion capture project," which would have been really dope thinking back now. And I was not in a good place at that time, and I didn't respond. And I now I feel like I screwed up because I didn't respond. But it's not the end of the world because I didn't do that. There will be more things that come up in the future. Granted, some opportunities are bigger than others. Like you hear the term once in a lifetime. Like I don't know if I'll ever get a Brazil again. Hopefully I don't, but it was valuable. Even though the project as a whole was a failure, I learned a lot as an individual. I definitely feel like a different person coming out of that than when I started. Yeah, to 100%. The experience of being in a different country was hang on one sec. Your audio's not coming through. Uh, hey,
Hey.
yeah, it
Yeah, it
works.
works.
Yeah, yeah. Going to another country was a really great experience, and it was scary, man. Like being somewhere where you don't know Portuguese, and like you don't get help.
You know, we're so accustomed living here, and that kind of gave you that. I'm pretty sure gave you that little life lesson like that. And like, you know, I struggle here at Brazil because I don't speak Portuguese. I feel like an outcast, which I technically am. Then you look at the people that come here, like immigrants that come here, better life. That's literally what they go through day in day out until they start to, you know, break the language barrier, start to be better in their. But yeah, I can see that struggle right there, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have huge props to anyone who There's a lot of people who come to the U.S. from another country knowing zero English, and that's English, to my understanding, since it's the only language I speak, is one of the hardest languages to learn as a second language or a third language. So even more props to them for coming here and dealing with that, because that's got to be so challenging. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine myself moving to Brazil and having to figure it out. Like I'm sure I could if I really put my mind to it and committed to that, but it'd be a mind warp for sure. I don't know how well I do the first few days or the first week or the first few months. But back to high school stuff. I'm trying to think. So we were just talking about it at the table right now. We are talking about dances and formals.
One of them that stuck out for me was homecoming, and again, like I'll just like Jesse mentioned earlier, like I should have took the opportunity to socialize more, especially for those events. But I really didn't. I really didn't have those in mind. Freshman all the way to junior. I had this goal where I wanted to be a professional soccer player. That's literally where all my time went, the entire time. So, and not only would I play at high school, I would play outside too. So I played for club, and um, or in outside leagues. So that's why I never really put too much attention on those dances. Cause I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. You look at these TV shows that we watch and how they make it seem like this is how it is, but in reality, that's not how it is. Or like, just ask a girl and then be like, "Yeah, I'll go with you." Like, nah, it's harder. It's harder than it looks. Down to that. So, um, so, uh, so yeah. When by the time senior year came, which it's literally like the year where now you don't really slack off on your studies, but you're really there, like a step forward to graduate. You want to go out and just go all out and attend all the social events that happen, especially since you're a senior because it's your last year. So yeah, senior year was the year where I went to almost every dance. I think I don't think I went to formal, but I definitely went to homecoming. That was literally also the year where I decided to bust a new hairstyle, the mullet. So no one did that back in the day. It was no one really figured out that that's literally where I was growing. But again, Alex did mention that now at Bosco, like there is no issues with having a hairstyle or a haircut. But back then it was kind of like it's like yeah. So I was kind of thankful that I was able to like maneuver um through through the principal to not get caught, or what do you call those
Maneuver.
yeah. Yeah, right, because he walks down the hallway, so you don't want him to like look at you. Even the
Gotta bust out the boo.
yeah, even the teachers too. So or the enforcer, I guess, the one that gives you citation, or like, hey, to either cut it off, or you can't come back. can't come back to school today or something like that. So, but yeah, homecoming was one of those where it stood out to me. It was fun, but it wasn't really like it didn't start off at the right foot. Alex can put in and talk more about it, but so yeah, I mean, attended that one, and then there was prom too. It's pretty fun. So, I did like, and it's to start off with homecoming. Like, it wasn't really, what would you say, like, um, the girl I went with wasn't ideally the girl I wanted to go with. It's funny. I literally within that same time frame, um, I literally just started talking to this chick. I literally started talking to this chick, and it was going pretty good until like, and then it was practically too late to ask that chick to go with me. And this one was, and the chick that I went to homecoming was pretty chill, you know. And again, like I was young, you know, I was a knucklehead, you know, I was kind of, I was a fool, I was a fool, so.
Were we all?
So you know, I wasn't pretty mature, and to tell this girl, hey, you know what, like I want to go with so and so over here instead, you know, not with you. Nothing against you, but obviously, you know, we were young, so what do I know? So I think that literally falls under like going to an all guy school and being able to like have girls there. You don't have those proper social skills to like communicate, you know, and be able to like, just tell a girl like, hey, you know what, like, go with someone else and make it easy for you. So yeah, it was pretty rough. But at the end of the day, you know, it was a fun experience. Obviously, I don't know if it was that dance or prom, but yeah. Well, actually, it was. It was homecoming. Like homecoming was one of our classmates. You know, at the greatest time of his life. Time of his life. So, you know. But yeah, man. I think Alex just had a good laugh, and I'm gonna pass it on to him so he can like further elaborate.
Dude, just going back to what you're saying about like being a knucklehead. Like I look back on some of my relationships in the past and I think, dude, what was I thinking? Like why did I do that? Why did I say that? You know, obviously when you're in the middle of something, you're in your emotions can take over and your judgment becomes really clouded by where you want things to go or where you think things are going to go, especially as a high schooler. Like you have these, I remember the very first girl I dated as a freshman in high school. I'm like, oh, we love each other, we're gonna get married. I'm like, yeah, yeah, I mean, it's a hell of a thing, dude. Like you think you're in love, but you have no concept of what that even entails, you know, the responsibility or anything like that. And I mean, it's important to go through those and make those mistakes, but you definitely, like, if you are someone who has self-awareness and is conscientious about their progression in life, then you'll find you'll find that looking back, you're like, okay, I was a different person, and there are some things now that I definitely would not do the same had I had the knowledge that I have now. So yeah, that's, I mean, I use relationships as an example in particular because they can be the most painful things. I mean, like, y'all have heard me go on about this over and over on stream already, but you know, like they hit me hard. I don't know, maybe it's different for everyone, but they hit me especially hard, and I'm still reeling from, you know, some of the decisions that I've made. And you know, as long as you can frame that in gaining mindset, like, well, I learned from that experience and can move forward in a positive light, using it as a utility, as a tool to press forward, then you don't have to get wrapped up in the loss of it. You can actually you can you can take the next step and be like, okay, well, that happened. Now how can I move even more swiftly or more carefully than I did prior? So that also applies to sports, work, all kinds of stuff. Like, I remember one specific high school memory I have was being on the volleyball team, and I was having a week where I was actually doing well, like where I wasn't complete garbage, and I was so mad that I was subbed out of the game that I actually walked up to the ref and tried to sub myself in without the coach saying so. And he was so mad at me. And at the time I didn't think anything of it. Like, you should know better. You're not supposed to sub yourself into a game as a player. But I thought I was doing the right thing, or I was being valiant, I guess. So I went up to the ref and I tried to sub myself in, and the coach looked at me like he had the angriest look on his face. He's like, sit your ass down. You're not playing right now. And I did not hear the end of it for a while. But I actually learned something valuable about myself in that moment. It was, even though I might have done something that was wrong and out of turn, it's like, dude, you actually have a little bit more courage than you think. Like, you are willing to get out there to try to make a difference in that moment. And when the stuff hits the fan, like you're gonna be ready to go, and you're gonna make the best of the situation. It's kind of gutsy to do that, and up until that point in my life, I never felt like I'd ever done anything truly like courageous by my own. I mean, it wasn't really that courageous, but you got to start somewhere, and for me that was a bit of a start. Kind of unorthodox, but I really appreciate that moment. So I was just thinking, in the vein of since it's Halloween and we're talking about high school stories, Alan, do you have any scary high school stories to tell?
Well, I mean, really, I don't think I've ever encountered like something like that. Like, is your question more like for paranormal stuff? Or?
It could be paranormal, or it could be like I don't know, you were in a really shady or sketchy situation. You're like, well, I'm really glad I got out of that. I mean, that might be kind of hard to limit it to high school, but if you have any scary stories in general, or like, I don't know.
Oh, I mean, well, I don't think it was scary, but just one of those where, again, like, you not thinking, but it's like just when they say don't give strangers rides, they literally don't do it. Even if it's the goodness of your heart, trying to be a good Samaritan, like, don't do it.
Did you give someone a ride?
Yeah, it was twice, to a lady and to this guy. One of them happened when I finished my shift at Dodger Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
He was screaming out in the heavens, about he wanted to go to the hospital because his wife was in labor, this yada yada yada, and I decided like, screw it, I'm like, who wouldn't want to be there for their child's birth, and miss it. So I decided to take him, and but as we were going through it, like, I saw the route that he was taking. I'm like, there was nowhere near a hospital, and we were literally like in the main street. So
oh man.
So then he told me like, oh, I'm good right here. We stopped literally at a main street light. There was no hospital near. So I'm like, okay. So I was kind of like glad that he was going. And I looked at the time, like, damn, it's pretty late. So and sure enough, I had my phone and in the little, like, sticking out, and he literally like swiped it out, like, with his sweater.
What?
And he just took it. Yeah, so How did I find out? Because as he left, he dropped his. He was. I assume he was like kind of buzzed or like tipsied out. Um, he had dropped. He had dropped that bottle on the street, and everybody that was walking was looking to see what it was.
Mhm.
And then he and then as I was going, obviously I don't know where I was at exactly, but I was on Sunset Boulevard. Maybe like in around that area, you know, where Dodger Stadium is at, and I was gonna grab my phone to put the GPS on to get me home, you know, but I couldn't find it, so I'm like, okay. So I thought it must have slipped out and fall under, and yeah, like I kept looking all over my car and nothing, nothing came out. So I'm like, damn. So I'm like, this fool literally just took my phone without knowing. So, um, but obviously, you know, I got a mouthful when I got home. Parents, you know, especially like them, like they didn't care much about the phone, but they're like, you know, you could have been lucky, like that guy could have done something to you, you know. And I'm like, yeah, looking back to that now, I'm like, yeah, like I feel like I was kind of like protected, you know, by God. I don't know if anybody here believes in God, but by God, you know, and he, in his way, he this person, if even if he wanted to do something to me, he decided to like, I'll take something valuable and that was instead of my life. So there's that, and then another time was, so I don't know if you can consider that into that category.
Oh, most
Scary.
definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
dude. That's
So
super scary.
then another time, you know, again, I don't know why I did this again, but yeah, I gave some random lady a ride. She was and it was weird too how it happened. Like waiting, I was waiting on the light to make a left. She literally pops out of nowhere. She's like, "Can you take me to this place real quick?" You know, yada yada yada. And she was very persistent. So I was like, oh, fuck, like if I tell her no, she's just gonna keep going and going. She won't move. So I was like, all right, fine. And I took her, and we ended up in Whittier, and to see if the person's there, and nothing. And then we came back. Then we came back to the same spot, basically. You know, just in a neighborhood where that intersection was to go out. And at this point, I was pissed. I was like, bro, like she literally just made me drive her around for no reason. So I told her to get out. You know, I'm done. She got out, so it was just weird. That was just a weird encounter. It wasn't scary, but I'm just like, you know, it just made me realize. It just made me realize like there's just people out here just weird, bro.
It's really a shame that you like because you're genuinely trying to be a nice person. You know, you're trying to help, be a good Samaritan. You're trying to help someone out, someone who looks like they're in a tough spot. And what's the expression? No good deed goes unpunished. It's like you get dinged for being a nice person. And granted, I guess that goes in line with you have to sort of pick and choose the situation. Like if you're conscientious about what's going on, you're like, maybe this is not situation I want to be in. Like this person might be in trouble, but they're gonna drag me into their trouble as well, and it could be really bad. But you know, it's just too bad that's the case.
Further add like those lessons, those two experiences so show me like no matter how nice you can be, like, you know, the reward the outcome might not be good either. So it's best just to keep to be on your own. You know, I going back to both situations, I could have said like, nah, bro, I'm going home. He can just figure it out himself. Because technically, it ain't my problem. You know, it's not really my issue. So, you know, it sucks that they're in that position, but they gotta figure it out. So.
Yeah, totally. Believe it or not, I was actually in a similar situation to that. So and this is actually kind of Halloween related, a little too Halloween related. In 2018, I was working at the LA Haunted Hayride, which is a Halloween event in where is it? I forget where it's. Buena Park? I think it's Buena Park. And one of our castmates lived in Long Beach, which wasn't like especially close to me, but it was kind of on the way. And just based on his character and his personality, he's very forward and sort of like invited himself to get a ride from me each week. And me, being the sucker that I am, was like, yeah, sure, man, it's no problem. I'll give you a ride every night to the show. No big deal. Despite the fact that I had work and I had to do other things on those days, but I was like, okay, we'll do it. It's an opportunity to get to know someone. And man, like, okay, the lesson from this is never take for granted the good things you have in your life, because every time I sat down in the car with this dude, it was like the next tragedy had just unfolded. It was like he had a relative that got in like a fatal car accident while we were performing. They like got kicked out of there. There was a lot of stuff going on. And anyway, so I'm picking this guy up and I'm driving him over the course of several weeks. He's telling me about his kids and about an incident in particular where some other parents were criticizing his parenting style. We'll leave it at that. And you know, me thinking that I had gotten pretty close to this guy was like, I was honest with him. I said, well, you know, that thing that you did was kind of irresponsible, and I can understand where they're coming from. And I said it sort of just like that. It wasn't accusatory or anything like that. Or maybe it was. I mean, I'd been driving this guy for so much that maybe I was getting at the end of my rope a little bit. But from what I recall, it wasn't really accusatory. Anyways, he didn't take it very well. And we went into work, and he was like yelling and screaming and like calling me names and like saying things about me that weren't, like, he just made up on the spot that weren't true. And I don't think anyone really believed him. Like, we'd already been working there for a couple weeks, and everyone had kind of caught on to the fact this guy was a little bit off. But I was kind of shaken up by it. And there was a point where I actually told the staff that I was genuinely concerned for my safety. I thought this guy was going to try something if he was mentally deranged. The plan was, after we wrapped, I would go get out of costume, and then he would come with me, and then I'd drive home to Long Beach. Then I would get home. This would happen probably by 1 or 2 in the morning, and he was not responsive to, like, he was completely ignoring me. Like, I could walk up to him like point blank and say something, he would just completely ignore me. Like, it got that weird. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go home by myself. I'm not going to take this guy if he's not gonna respond to me. So I end up driving another coworker who lives in LA, which isn't as far. It's kind of on the way for me to get home. And then I get a message from this guy saying, hey, I'm still out here waiting. And I'm like, okay, well, you didn't say anything. So I try to call him. He won't answer the phone. He says, no, I don't want to talk to you. Put our other coworker on the line. Like, straight up. This was like kindergarten level communication. So I had to call him. I had to put my coworker on the phone so that he could talk to this guy that I was supposed to drive. And he goes, dude, it's 1 a.m. This guy is waiting to pick you up when he could have just left already, and you're still not willing to talk to him. I'm just like, eventually he gets in the car. It's about like 2 or 2:30 in the morning. My coworker gets in the car. Before that, though, I say to the guy sitting next to me, I'm like, do you mind coming with me on the drive home? I know it's far away from where you live, but I'll have a spot for you. You can sleep at my house. You don't have to worry about anything. Like, I'll feed you in the morning. I just don't want to be alone in the car with this deranged guy. And so, like, yeah, sure, that's fine. So we pick up the other guy. 3 of us are there in the car. And we're driving back to Long Beach to drop off our crazy friend. And on the way there, he says to me, he's like, hey, can I borrow some money? Like, seriously? After all this, like, can you borrow some money? So I said, and I said, why do you need to borrow money? He goes, well, I want to buy some soda for my kid. Like he really wants some. And I said, I'll tell you what, we will go to the 7-Eleven right now, whatever was open, the little mini mart. We'll go there right now. You tell me exactly what your kid needs, and I'll buy it. I'm not buying any soda pop, okay? I'm buying some juice or something a little healthier, okay? But I'm not gonna be a further contribution to these issues. So, so we went, and I don't know, it was probably like $40 worth of stuff. It was some juice and some snacks and food and whatnot. And bought him the stuff, and then took him back, and that was the end of it. But like, my mindset at that point was, look, I don't have to do any of these things because this guy has been a complete jerk to me, despite the fact that I've been completely generous driving him every day to work for an hour. But the reality is he is in a much worse situation than I am. So the best thing I can do is try to alleviate that a little bit. And if it means spending some extra cash on some groceries for his kids, then by all means, we'll just do that. So that goes back to like the original lesson that I learned. It's, you know, as much as I might complain about how hard it is as an actor or an artist or a creator or streamer, whatever, someone out there has it harder. Someone out there is maybe they're not trying to get out of it, but they definitely have it harder. And you have so many things around you that you need to be grateful for. And that was like kind of a scary real life experience where I felt that. I felt that 100%. So yeah, that's my scary story. Alan, do you have any? What are your plans for this Halloween? Do you have anything coming up that you're going to be doing?
So as of right now, well, I think the biggest one is just trying to finish my semester for Cal State Fullerton. I'm a senior right now, and I'm literally like this one. This is literally my last semester. If all goes well, and I pass the one class and the one lab I need, then I'm officially graduate to Fullerton. So my bachelor's. So that's the. I don't know if that's what you.
Let's go.
I don't know if that's referring back to your question, but if you're in terms of like plans for this week, yesterday went out. You know, my girl went to eat, and gonna go play some soccer. Friday nights is always, you know, so I go play soccer. Today's with you, obviously. I'm here, so I'm gonna have to see I'm gonna see one of my other homies later on tonight, and then tomorrow see my girl go out for a date, and maybe go to K1 Speed Zone.
Hey.
But yeah, I don't know if that's what you were asking.
So you're not dressing up?
Nah, like, you know, it's funny. As I gotten older, you know, I think it's literally a topic that me and my girlfriend were talking about. Is that the generations that follow us, they've really that stuff that we used to do when we were kids has less touch. Like trick or treating, you know, tomorrow, for example. Like here out in the streets, like no one does that anymore. Dressing up as well. Yeah, you know, obviously some people do dress up, but that's for their jobs. Maybe that still follows at the schools, you know, they still dress up. But everything's right now so revolved around technology that technology has really like taken over the simple stuff. It's fun too. And one of them is trick or treating. You know?
Hang on real quick. I got to post my costume on Instagram.
So yeah, that's who, so um but no, I mean, if there's anybody that'll dress up as myself and be a
Hey,
ghost and be a ghost at my house, I can haunt that.
did you say I can haunt that?
Yeah, yeah, haunt my house, be the ghost there. Um,
Let me haunt you, girl.
yeah, so um, definitely, um, yeah, but yeah, I've lost that touch too in dressing up. I think it just depends. Like I know, Alex, I don't know if you've ever attended, but this week is Escape. Um,
I've worked at Escape. I've never attended though. Yeah.
he's worked at Escape, so he's actually forced to dress up. He has no choice. But the costumes that he's wore, they're pretty dope. They're more realistic than the costumes that we wear. But usually now people our age they use that rave to dress up. For Halloween. That's mostly where I see people dress up. But in terms of like here, like suburbs and all that, it's difficult to see sometimes. But yeah. And I apologize for anybody that's viewing this if I look like sleepy. It's just the food coma from the food that I just ate. So that tends to happen a lot.
Yeah, Jesse. He really enjoyed his wings. So that weren't from Raising Cane's.
They weren't from Raising Cane's, but they give you some bread and some tenders like for $12. Once they eat that, I feel like I'm in jail at that point. I feel like jail food. But no offense to Raising Cane's if you ever see this video, but that's just my opinion. I wasn't paid to say that, but but yeah, so that's Halloween for me, man. This weekend, you plan to dress up?
Negative. I am like, believe it or not, I actually dressed up 2 years ago and went trick or treating. Probably the last time I'll ever go trick or treating, to be honest. But last year, no, just stayed in, like had a good time hanging out with a friend. And this year I really have nothing going on, to be honest. My students have dressed up at both of my jobs. And it's cool seeing all of their really creative costume. You know what's really cool? Seeing like how the costumes have changed. Okay, so like before it used to be just like fireman or construction worker or vampire, what have you. Now, like I there's a little girl at my school who dressed up as Sailor Moon, and I'm like, hey, okay, she's got it.
That I've seen, anime has grown a lot, amongst our generation and even the younger ones.
Mm-hmm.
You see people dress up as Sailor Moon, One Piece. What's his name? The main character, One Piece.
I don't know.
Yeah, see, I don't even know. I'm a DBC fan, by the way.
DBC, yep.
Yeah, so, Naruto. There's lots of fans of that. What else?
There were two girls who dressed up as characters that I have never heard of or seen. Like I asked them, I said, "What's your costume?" And she's like, "Oh, you won't know." She's like, "You won't know the anime." And she said the name of the anime, and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't remember that name. I don't remember." It was like a really obscure one.
Oh, a lot of people watch Death Note. Demon Slayer is something that was growing recently, trending a lot. But yeah, that's the thing. Going back to adding to Alex, like the creativity in costumes now, has grown, and it's easy to get those things too. It's available to anybody. Back then, it's just like you would just go to like a Spirit Halloween or Halloween costume warehouse, and whatever you get, that's it. That's all you can do. So, like now, I'll probably say like now, the generations moving forward are getting more creative, finding the tools to look like their favorite character. Halo's one. Finding the helmets. Have you watched the show Squid Game?
Not yet, but that show has been popping off recently on social media.
If you want to dress up just like the characters, they're already out. That's what I'm saying. Like it's like now, like to be able to dress up as like, let's say your latest show that you watch and you want to be that character, you can instantly, like, the internet has all that stuff already for you. Or in the past, that didn't exist.
Dude, in second grade, I wanted to be Mario. and there was no, like, one of my mom's coworkers somehow found a Mario mask, but everything else I had to like find and put together, like the overalls, the red shirt, and everything. There were no Mario costumes to buy like at retail stores or anything like that. And I don't think 2002, like, it wasn't really shopping online. Like Amazon was a thing, but I don't know if it, we couldn't find anything. So it's crazy just how much more things you might consider to be niche are easily accessible through the internet is so amazing for this stuff.
But see, you just hit the nail in the coffin. Like that for us, not being able to, like, you want to be Mario and you had to buy stuff. That's what made you more unique, and you kind of stood out more. Like, oh, like they're like, who are you? Like, I'm Mario. Like, oh wow, where'd you find this? Where'd you find that? But then now it's like they can tell, like, oh, you're Mario. They're like, yeah, like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
This is like they know because they know, like, okay, if I was to be just like him, like, you find it through Amazon. All that. I'm telling you, like, technology's taking over. It's a big thing.
NFTs, guys, get your NFTs.
That's another thing too. Like, if anyone watching the stream doesn't know what NFTs are, I'm telling you right now, it's best if you research and get going with that, because that literally is your Bitcoin. I'll tell you that. If you guys go into cryptocurrency, like, that's your Bitcoin right there. Has no value, but you like to collect. If you're into like collectibles, like how I used to be collecting the dolls, posters, like those right there, the NFTs, man, it could be valuable within the next 10 years. You probably, when, let's just say that NFT makes you rich, probably come back to the stream and be like, wow, because of you guys, you exposed it and we heard you, like, look where I'm at now with those. So, but at the same time, like, take the NFTs as like something that you, like a hobby, just buying certain things, like, oh, I want it just cause it's something valuable. And I've dug in to my own research with those, and yeah, like, the art was pretty cool. Put him in the spot right now, but he releases his own NFTs. I'm sure he's promoted here in the streams, but they're pretty cool.
Tiny bit.
So, it's something that you guys should. It's something that was a mailman, by the way. I was trying to break into our house.
Yeah. We're just gonna keep going with the show. Like, we're not guys. We don't stop.
Yeah. Yeah, NFTs. They are something to look at. Gary V. If you're watching this video, I'm sure he'll tell you.
Yeah, I
a lot. So, love that guy. I was not paid to say that.
Yeah, he was the one who actually, like, originally turned me on to the idea. Like, I had never heard of them prior. Actually, that's not true. I followed Beeple for a few years, and then Beeple released his project that was worth like 69 million when it was auctioned on Christie's, and I was like, what the heck is this stuff? And I fell down a rabbit hole of studying. Long story short, I worked on my own project, and it currently exists right now. Like, it's on OpenSea, but it's a little funky because it's very expensive to actually list it because of the gas fees and because of the listing fee for OpenSea itself. There are other platforms where I'm considering listing my projects on, but they're not as well known, and I don't know. I still need to do a ton of more research. It's very overwhelming. There's a lot of information. One thing I highly recommend, look, even if you're not interested in NFTs whatsoever, okay? If you're on Twitter, join a Twitter space, okay? It's one of the best things I've ever done. And why is that? Okay, so social media normally is just comments and posts, okay? And then you just like replying or you're liking something. The interaction is very kind of surface level, okay? Even if you genuinely like it, it's still surface level. You're not really connecting with that person in a like a higher output, I guess you could say. And in Twitter Spaces, you get to hear people's voices. You get to come up as a speaker. You can actually share an experience that will be memorable. And it has been an amazing opportunity for me to network with other artists and other people in the space to get a better idea of what's going on, to actually hear how they sound instead of just reading a text or reading a tweet. Okay, so Spaces I highly, highly recommend. I might actually start doing Spaces in the near future, or Clubhouse. It depends. I really like Spaces. I never really use Clubhouse. Panda actually uses Clubhouse, so if you could give me your experience with that, like doing a show on Clubhouse. In fact, maybe next time I have you on, Alan, it'll be on a Twitter Space. We'll see, because it's very, very easy, huh?
Notice, is that something new on Twitter? Like Space?
Yes.
Twitter Space?
Yeah. It's new.
Is that where like
So
talking?
So Twitter Spaces is audio only interaction where there's a speaker and then there's a bunch of listeners, and then you can bring listeners up. You can have them talk on stage, and it's like a podcast, but it's live and it doesn't get saved after. So after the conversation is over, it's over, and nothing is kept.
I think I've seen you do that a couple times.
Yeah, I've shared some on my page, but they're such a great experience. Okay, what did Panda say? Okay, I'm here. Sorry, I've been on and off the stream. Last part, you guys went home. I love Clubhouse. Lots of parenting talks and candle talks and business talks. Okay, that's awesome. Now, normally, Panda, are you just listening on these talks? Do you come up as a speaker? Do you participate? I'm just gonna say from personal experience, the more Twitter Spaces I'm in, the more likely people are going to find my platform, because it's important for me as a creator to build an audience. And in order to do that, I have to get myself out there, and I'm always looking for the latest and greatest way to do that. And right now it seems like Spaces are an awesome way to do that. So I make a point of trying to speak and ask not just any question so that I can be at the top of the screen, but a genuine question I have about NFTs. Like, one thing I'm struggling with right now is if it's customary to list on multiple platforms. So I need to ask that in the next one I join. Sometimes I go up as a speaker. Cool. So yeah, I know Alan has mentioned in the past he is starting a podcast. And, the traditional medium would be to get 2 microphones, or it's kind of like what we're doing right now. Like, we have 2 cameras, we have 2 microphones, and we're talking. But if you do something on Twitter or Clubhouse, people who are just scrolling through, like any of your followers, they will see an outline on your profile picture that shows you're in a space, and it will put a big, huge thing at the top of their home feed that will tell them that you're in a space. So we're talking about like search optimization. People will title their YouTube videos a certain way. Well, if you're in a space, people are going to see your profile pop up right away, assuming they follow you.
Yeah,
so
I've seen it. I have a bunch of other followers that do it, and you can see it like as soon as you open your Twitter, at the very top you see like who's doing space or anything, who's live. Yeah, so I've seen that.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we're going to call it here, guys. Alan, oh man, it's been a pleasure having you on here. Like, I just have to say, like, there are a lot of sort of like moving parts and things that aren't quite working with my setup. And I would not know that if you hadn't been here to be my guinea pig and help me test this out. It's always a pleasure talking about this stuff with you, and to me it's very gratifying to do it in this format, because like, when you have a real conversation with someone, I can't remember anything. so to be able to like to have that conversation and have it be saved, and I can go back and be like, yeah, I remember that moment. Like, there's a record of us having a record of our friendship, a record of our interaction. To me, that's really special. And I think you deserve to be heard in this way. And it's now I have no excuse. I can go back, and you told me that story. I'm like, okay, let me watch the video. You mentioned it before. Panda said, sorry, I wasn't here. No, it's okay. It's all good. It is not your responsibility to have to be here. Panda chooses one. Panda, and for you, Alan, Panda is like the greatest supporter. Like, she has been here since I became an affiliate on Twitch last year. Like, every stream. She's here every stream. She's also a moderator, so like when a few random people come in and they're getting rowdy, she handles them and bans people and stuff. So she's a superhero. A absolutely amazing woman. And birthday party was exhausting but a success. So glad to hear that, Panda. That's really awesome. So yeah, we're gonna call it here. I will see you guys on Monday for some Warzone. Right? Is Monday Warzone? I think Monday is Warzone, and then Tuesday. Oh, sorry, that's last week. That was different. I think Monday and Tuesday will both be Warzone. I need to add another game. I'm not really feeling this lineup right now, so I might have to change things up. But thank you guys. Have a great evening. I will see you later. Stay safe out there. And any final words before we close this out, Alan?
No, man. Thank you for having me. Thought this was pretty cool. Again, next time we'll probably just do like an actual podcast, and I'll probably be at a table, and you'll still have his camera facing me, but we're like looking at each other this time, and not looking sideways.
Yeah.
From time to time. So.
it just shows two heads, and they're like.
Yeah. So, and we're probably like when we do it, we're probably looking at the opposite direction, or like, and our viewers are like, "What the hell are they looking at?" For real.
It's gonna be so fun to watch this back.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, thanks for having me. Again, I know Jesse's at work, but you heard the man. This was like our first test drive, so if he decides to bring you on, you'll get the better experience. So be happy about that.
You got it. Okay. Yep. Have a wonderful day. Love you too, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.